Hello and welcome back to another art lesson with me, your teacher, Ms. Dow. All right, so we, our boys and girls, are ready to move uh, into 1 point perspective. We have been trying to work with our lines and our colors with intention and purpose to start creating optical illusions. So we started with a starburst and we've been working with it in different ways. So first, we just did a straight starburst with a shape or a letter, depending on what grade you're in. Okay, and we looked at contrast. Where were the light and dark colors? And, we made sure we alternated colors to start creating the illusion of that 3D space. Then we took it up to, we started doing something a little bit different with that starburst. Fourth grade and fifth grade, you did some version of a starburst with curved lines. Third grade, you did it with the straight lines. But we also, in addition to alternating our colors, we alternated this curved line, the parentheses, I call them, right? The two C's. So first, like weaving, we did them both like this way, and then that's like an over, and then we went under, right? It's kind of hard to do with my hands. All right, so we have contrast with lines, we have contrast with colors. We know that if we direct our lines in a certain way, it adds to the effect. So now we're going to put that into a 1 point perspective drawing. Now, this is not our final drawing. In our final drawing, we will actually set it in a place. Third grade, you will do something different than fourth and fifth grade. So we'll get to that later. But to walk you through the steps for right now, I took still frames or pictures of my work as I created this example for you. I'm hoping to keep this video quick because there's a lot to go over. All right, so the first thing that I want to go over, the first step is you're going to create shapes. All right, I want you to create 5 shapes, squares and rectangles. All right, let's not get fancy with our shapes right now, just squares and rectangles. And you're making them flat, just one surface, okay? It's the front surface. I want you to make one of them parallel to the side of the paper. So if you notice, we know when we make a rectangle or a square, let's say a square, for example, a square has 4 equal sides, right? So we know that these 2 lines are parallel to each other, and the top and bottom will be parallel to each other, which makes, oops, if I do the yellow lines, so the yellow lines, top and bottom are parallel, but they are perpendicular to the blue lines. And what makes it perpendicular is that angle, right? The 90-degree angle that's in each corner. Okay, so we have to be very particular with our shapes in this drawing. We want accuracy. Now, the edges of the paper are going to be really important when we get to our 1-point perspective drawing, our final drawing. Okay, so you can see that the yellow lines on this square are parallel with the edge of the paper. And then the sides are parallel to the side of the paper, right? But you can see how they cross and that would become perpendicular. It is very important in this lesson to pay attention to perpendicular and parallel lines. Okay, we'll talk more about that in just a minute. So the next thing you have to do after you draw your 5 shapes, and notice how I have one going off the page, the rest, these 2 are angled, this one is parallel to the side of the paper, your choice, anywhere you want, just one of them have them be parallel to the sides. Now you're going to choose your focal point. The focal point is that dot that we've been talking about. Okay, this right here is your focal point. That is the point where all of your front to back lines are going to go. Those are the lines that look like they're going away from you. All right, so for example, if I actually don't have I don't have a cube here. But let's just say, for example, my hand, okay? Let's just say this hand is the flat surface. This is the shape I just created. Or I'll use, what do you got? I have a sticky note, a square. So this is the flat shape. It's literally flat, right? It's here. What we're going to start drawing is the lines that create the side and the bottom, the top, and the other side of this 3D shape. Now, it gets tricky. This is why we did our optical illusions, because it's still a flat piece of paper, right? We're drawing it on a flat piece of paper. So we have to get our minds thinking about the direction of the lines. Okay, so every line you draw, anything you draw as if it were on this side, you have to consider parallel, perpendicular, or the focal point. Okay, so let's go back to the example. All right, so each of these corners, I'm gonna zoom this in and put my glasses on so I can see better. Each of these corners is a corner of a cube or a rectangular prism. So you're going to draw the line from there to the focal point. So from this point to this point. Now you want a sharp pencil, okay? Have it be as sharp as you can. I have to say that right there wasn't very sharp. If you can see my pencil here now is much sharper. I sharpened it, okay? You want it sharp. Use a straight edge. This is not something that you can just eye. You have to have a straight edge. Okay, we talked about that, ways that you can create a straight edge if you don't have a ruler. All right, now you're gonna have to play with it a little bit because some edges are gonna barely be seen and some edges are going to be much bigger. So for example, and another drawing that I started, here's just the pencil part. When I did, for example, this edge, look, it is barely there, but it's still there, okay? You can't leave it out because it'll look weird. It'll look like this angled a little bit right here. Your eye will pick up on that eventually, okay? So you have to go around and check to see if that angle is going clearly down to the focal point, right? If there's just a little bit showing. And sometimes it might not be, okay? So use your ruler to test each of the corners. If it's going through a shape, then you don't have to finish drawing it because we're not gonna have these shapes be transparent. All right, that's a whole nother lesson. We'll get to that someday. All right, so here it is, all done. All the lines are drawn. Any line that's not in there is because you can't see it. So for example, from this corner, if I drew a line there, it would go through that front shape. Can't do that. It is not transparent. Then once you have that in, you start drawing your details, your designs, your patterns. We're just drawing any patterns on this. When we get to our 1-point perspective, you might be drawing buildings, you might be drawing houses. So you need to consider perspective with the focal point, but also parallel and perpendicular lines. Notice the pattern I created here. This is a great pattern to practice if you are, say, wanting to do doors and windows. All right, I made each of these lines parallel. I started with this one all the way across, parallel to this line. Then I changed the color. I've changed the color right now. I didn't change the color of the drawing. And then I drew this one. And then I came back here. And then I drew this one, okay? So I just created it. They're all parallel, but where are they perpendicular? These that go up and down are perpendicular to these, okay? So you can play with some of those concepts that we've been using in this drawing as well. All right. Now, when you add things to the sides, when I'm talking about this here on the front pattern, like here, 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 these are the shapes that I first drew, right? Those you draw normal, like you would any other time. Those are flat, right? That's that flat piece. It's flat like this. These sides are all going away from us. They're going to the focal point. They're going away from us. That means if you add any other lines that are going down that side, it has to go to the focal point. So you can see here, I have a few lines that are doing just that. So if you want to make these stripes, each one has to go to that focal point. Each one. If you watch them, look at them carefully, you will see each one of them is drawn to that focal point. This right here, boys and girls, is like drawing railroad tracks or looking down a hallway. Notice how these lines, oops, missed out. These lines are parallel to this front edge of the shape. Let me clear all these. All right, you see how this is parallel to this. That is important. Muy importante. Okay, you want to pay attention to that. But these side lines, the top and the bottom, they're going down the side, go to the focal point. The temptation is, as you get down here, to make the lines go this way, to angle them. Don't do that. You got to train your brain. You got to look for that, okay? If I see you do that, I will tell you to erase it and do it again. Please don't get frustrated. It's a very normal mistake, okay? It's a learning process. So think of it as, you accept the fact you're going to make mistakes with this, okay? Learning mistakes, as all mistakes should be. All right, then I added color. Boys and girls, you do not have to add color with this project, but I do want you to add value. So if you want to do value scales with just your pencil and do the whole thing in just pencil, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to add color, I went through here and I took some pictures of how I created a value scale with multiple colors. So I have black, purple, a dark blue, and a light blue. And so I start with the black. And notice I put all the darkest colors here in the center where the focal point is, because I want that to look like it's the farthest part away. I am putting those colors there with purpose, with intentionality. And I add the purple, and I add the dark blue, and then I use the light blue to kind of blend it all together. It's a little trick that I've learned over the years. You really can't see a lot of that light blue, but it's there. It helped blended it blended the other colors. Okay. Now I almost left it here. I kind of like it here. I like having just the color in the background, but I decided I'd go ahead and color it. I'm not sure. I still don't know if I like the color, but you know what? That's how it goes. So I added color. You do not have to. Okay. All right, so I know you might have questions. I will demonstrate for you in class with my document camera if you need to, but I will also have all of those still frames for you in Canvas so that if you don't want to play video, I know some of you have internet that's not great with videos. So in the processing activity, I will have those still frames so that you can look one at a time, okay? All right. Have fun with this. Remember, this is leading to drawing 3D, something y'all have been wanting to do, and expect to make mistakes. Why? Because this is brand new. It's brand new. Whoever rides their bike the first time without falling down, okay? So keep your expectations in your mind open and just keep trying. You'll get this. Have fun with it. Don't be too serious, except for making that pencil sharp and using a ruler. Be serious about those and perpendicular lines, but have fun. All right. Adios, boys and girls.